pleasure or self-destruction? A.
Sometimes the border is so thin that you can hardly see it. There is this.
Strange mechanism.
Which leads us to do things that with our heads we know are wrong. Today we try to look inside ourselves to understand this somewhat deceptive pact that we make with our brains. Let's see together why it happens and above all how it works.
So let's start immediately with the big question, the one that in the end, in one way or another, touches us all a little. But why? Why do we find ourselves lighting a cigarette, drinking that extra glass, or falling into a behavior we know is not good for us? And the crazy thing is that we know it. Well, the answer is this. The crucial point has nothing to do with willpower or weakness. It's all about chemistry, very powerful neurochemistry. And here is the key to everything. I call it the deceptive pact. Let's imagine it just like this. It's as if our brain, to escape from a moment's absence from stress, was looking for a shortcut. And he makes a secret deal.
Deal with himself. Okay, I'll take this little one.
Pleasure now.
Right away. Even though I know I'm mortgaging a much greater well-being in the future. At the time it seems like a genius. It works. But then in the long run, the bill to pay becomes pretty salty.
And one thing must be very clear. You don't fall into it overnight. It is a path, a kind of ladder. No one wakes up and says, today I'm developing an addiction. No, it always starts with an occasional gesture. A seemingly harmless act, repeated until it turns into a nasty habit, persists long enough, and it spirals into abuse. This is where the brain undergoes physical changes, eventually reaching the final stage, addiction. At that point, the altered brain gains control and the behavior morphs into an almost unstoppable force.
Okay. But how does it happen? How is it that the brain changes in this way? Now let's get right into the heart of the mechanism and let's say it again. Let's not talk about morality. Or say, be strong. This is pure biology, a system meticulously designed to completely override and outplay our brains. And here it is, the vicious circle in its whole hub, I would say brutal simplicity. It works like this. There is a stimulus. It can be stress, it can be boredom, but also something very banal, like the smell of coffee. This stimulus triggers the behavior, and the boom behavior triggers the reward, a surge of dopamine. Our brain, which is a sponge, learns right away. Did I do this? I got it. The good one. It strengthens the connection.
Every single time this.
Giro, yes. He repeats, the groove in the brain deepens and the birthmark becomes practically an automatic reflex.
And here be careful, because there is a common misconception that we need to clear up. Everyone thinks that dopamine is the wrong pleasure molecule. Or rather, it's not really like that. It is much, much more the molecule of will, of desire, of that spasmodic expectation of reward. Something happens in addiction. This is crazy. Wanting becomes a hunger, a craving like that. You that far surpasses the pleasure that you then really feel. I mean, you want to die. Something that in the end doesn't even give all that satisfaction anymore. That's it. This statement encapsulates the essence of the message, highlighting the critical importance of conveying this concept. Addiction doesn't stem from weakness or flaws in character. It's a neurobiological disorder, a genuine medical condition, where the intricate workings of the brain's circuits are essentially commandeered. Understanding this completely changes the perspective, allows you to look at the problem without judging yourself or judging, and to look for the right strategies. And the interesting thing is that this mechanism, this engine, is always the same. It just changes. Fuel manifests itself in many different ways, but the underlying process is identical. Let's take a quick look at 4 classic examples: smoking, alcohol, gambling, and drugs.
This table gives us a very clear overview. Think of smoking. Nicotine gets to the brain in a matter of seconds, an almost instant link, or alcohol, which often becomes a way to turn off emotions. Now, with regard to gambling, the process is almost malignantly ingenious. It manipulates the allure of the near win, triggering the dopamine-driven sensation that propels you forward. Moreover, the drugs manipulate the reward system in profound ways. Well, massive. As demonstrated, substances evolve, behaviors transform, yet the underlying catalyst driving these actions remains unaltered. Okay, so far we have. Given the problem, how does the trap work? And now it's coming. The million-dollar question. Dollars, but if you get out of it, can you? Do something? The answer?
Yes, that vicious circle can be broken.
So let's see how we can try to renegotiate that famous pact with our brain, but this time on better terms. Before. However, we must break down a wall, myth number 1, that very widespread idea. And let's face it, super damaging. The famous one, phrase, I quit whenever I want. How many times have we heard her tell the truth? The scientific one is another. When the brain is, willpower alone has been rewired? Well, not. Often it's not enough. It's not +1 battle on equal terms.
And for
Understand.
How grave is this situation? Let's examine the figure, 93,000. Pause for a moment. This isn't merely a statistic. It represents 93,000 human beings, individual lives tragically lost.
Every year.
Only in Italy, and only for smoking. This data slams us in the face a dramatic reality. Thinking of making it only with willpower is a bet that unfortunately too much.
It often gets lost. Okay, so where do we start? The path to get out of it can be summarized in 3 steps, 3 fundamental stages. Number 1, understand, and accept that a brain mechanism, not a fault. Getting rid of guilt is the first step. Number 2, take action. Use concrete, smart strategies. To hack that vicious circle. And third, that perhaps most important of all, the support. Lean on someone, ask. Helping is not weakness, it is an act of great strength. And how does this act translate into practice? Well, it's about putting a stop to that vicious circle. For example, first, identify the stimuli, understand what triggers the urge, then interrupt the impulse. Just wait 5 minutes before acting to break the automatism. Third, find alternative but healthy rewards to give the brain something else. And then again, change the environment, away from temptation, and so on. And finally, the most powerful thing, build a support network, talk to someone about it. And we've come to the end. The thing? Important from. Remember that we don't need a total revolution overnight. Change is a journey of small steps. So let's close with a question, a reflection for all of us. What is that single? Even today, we might embark on a modest but pivotal initiation to craft a renewed and more sincere agreement, one that resonates profoundly with the core of who we are. Thank you warmly for accompanying us on this journey.